Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am your narrator, Second Lieutenant Mike Balcerzak, and on behalf of the Commander, 5th Bomb Wing, Colonel Brad Cochran, welcome to Minot Air Force Base and the 5th Mission Support Group Change of Command Ceremony. We are pleased you are with us today to share in this important ceremony as we bid farewell to Col Rich Goodman II and welcome in a new leader, Col Brett Black. Before we begin today's ceremony, I would like to take this opportunity to go over military protocol and ceremony etiquette. During the ceremony, you will be given cues on when to stand and be seated. Today's ceremony will be conducted as an outdoor event. Therefore, all military personnel should remain covered and salute during the playing of the national anthem. We ask our civilian guests to join us in honoring our nation by standing with your right hand over your heart while the anthem is played. Additionally, all military personnel must stand at the position of attention during the presentation of the Legion of Merit Medal. The Legion of Merit Medal, the Change of Command, and the Air Force Song. Our ceremony today is a celebration of both continuity and change. Continuity in the form of a military tradition whose roots reach back through time to the legions of ancient Rome, to the passing of signets that once symbolized the transfer of command from one to another. Change, as this great command says farewell to an honored leader and welcomes his successor through a ceremony that differs only in style, not substance, from those of the Romans. Once the members of the official party have taken their places, please remain standing for the presentation of our nation's colors by the Minot Air Force Base Honor Guard, our national anthem, and the Invocation by Chaplain Brandon White. Today, we are honored to have special guests in attendance. Joining us virtually, special guests of Col Rich Goodman II include his spouse, Mary Beth, and their children, Richard III and Samantha. Special guests of Col Brett Black include his spouse, Kim, and their children, Avery, Kenna, Mazzy, and Brolin. Distinguished guests in attendance include spouse of the Commander, 5th Bomb Wing, Miss Keva Cochran. Vice Commander, 5th Bomb Wing, Colonel Brian Vaughn. Joining virtually, Vice Commander, 91st Missile Wing, Colonel Barry Little. Command Chief, 5th Bomb Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Erin McElroy and her spouse, Scotty. We would also like to welcome all other commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, friends, and members of the 5th Mission Support Group joining us virtually. At this time, we ask you please stand for the arrival of the official party. Colors. Halt. Reset. Park.
Right, order. Arm. Colors turn. Heart.
Chaplain White, please come forward to offer the invocation.
Good afternoon. I invite you to join me in prayer. Let us pray. Gracious and mighty God, you place leaders in positions of both authority and responsibility. You've charged us to pray for them. So we thank you for the work and the leadership of Colonel Goodman, his wife, Mary Beth, his son, Richard, and daughter, Samantha. From Colonel Goodman's infectious energy, attitude, and leadership to Mary Beth's calming smile, the Goodmans have been your faithful servants and a family who cares about every person and airman at Minot Air Force Base. Colonel Goodman has challenged us in many ways to grow from good to great, and we ask for your blessing as Colonel Goodman and his family continue to their next journey, and that every path they take will be ultimately guided by you. Keep them and protect them on their next chapter in life. And Lord, we welcome our new commander, Colonel Black, and his family. Please grant both wisdom and guidance upon Colonel Black as he takes command of this outstanding group, knowing, as Scripture says, to whom much is given, much is required. May his wife Kim, his daughters Avery, Kenna, Mazzy, and son Brolin rally around him and support him throughout his tenure as he dedicates himself to the fulfillment of this mission and to the service of the warriors of the 5th Mission Support Group. And may we dedicate ourselves to support Colonel Black in accomplishing this mission together, knowing that the best days are yet to come. For these things we ask in your precious and holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Honor Guard and Chaplain White. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. And now it is my pleasure to introduce the commander, 5th Bomb Wing, Colonel Brad Cochran.
All right, well, good afternoon. How we doing? What a fantastic venue for the MSG change of command. I was talking to Colonel Goodman just right before we walked in the room, and he is praying for an alarm to go off right in the middle so that all the firefighters have to respond. And maybe it would delay his change of command just a little bit longer so he can stay in command. But I don't think it's going to happen, Rich. So, good morning. I'd like to extend another warm welcome to all of our distinguished visitors. I know we have some on Zoom. Thank you for being here. I know that Mary Beth, Richie, Sammy J., I think you're out there, so great to see you. Hope you guys are having fun up there, and you're enjoying that great weather up there. Kim, thanks for being here and supporting, and it's really great to have you here. I know we've got the children here, right? We've got Avery and Kenna, Maisie, and Brolin, all here. Fantastic, and they're getting a little bit over their jet lag from wonderful Hawaii. But we don't have a whole lot of sympathy for that. So, but we're excited. We're excited to have you here and look forward to working with you in the future. All right, some of our other distinguished guests. Keva, thank you for being here. Colonel Vaughn, Chief Mack, Scotty. We've got other squadron commanders, group commanders, superintendents, all attending. I think Colonel Little is out there on Zoom. Thank you for participating. You know, we have a wonderful partnership, and as you'll get to know Colonel Black, that we have a wonderful partnership with the 91st Missile Wing. We are truly Team Minot here together, and so it's great to have them be here as well. Thanks to all of you for taking the time to be part of and watch this incredible ceremony. Okay, so today is a great day for Team Minot. And for the 5th Mission Support Group. Today we close one chapter in the history of the storied mission support group here as we honor the outgoing commander, Colonel Goodman, and recognize him for his leadership and service to this wing. And at the same time, we open another chapter in our history and welcome Col Brett Black. As I've stated in the past, this wing has a tremendous history. From Pearl Harbor, where you just came from, that's where we started, to the Battle of Midway, to Wake Island, to the numerous silent conflicts during the Cold War, to the Vietnam War, to Operation Allied Force, Enduring Freedom, Iraqi Freedom, Operation Inherent Resolve, and most recently, by setting multiple deployment records in the Pacific. We all know that none of these missions would take place or would have been successful without operational support. You can't put bombers in the air, bombs on target, if you can't defend a base, defend a network, put fuel on the line, parts on the aircraft, or sustain a base to fight from. Under the leadership of Colonel Goodman, the 5th Mission Support Group has excelled at just that, mission support. Because we all know without mission support, mission abort. That's right. Under the leadership of Colonel Goodman, this group has distinguished itself as an elite, warrior-cultured organization ready to support whatever the mission or task, and that's pretty incredible. Let me just list out a few of the accomplishments of this group under the command of Colonel Goodman. 11 team awards, 14 individual awards, including the Outstanding Airman of the Year and the Outstanding Logistics CGO of the Year. Under his command, the MSG had the best NSI in Air Force Global Strike Command history. Under his command, we tackled a tough experiment like Moses Lake. Multiple Global Thunders, including the first ever Air Force Global Strike Command BSART deployment in 5 years. So we hadn't done that in a very, very long time. Multiple hectic rollers, to include the first ever dual wing, no notice nuclear generation. A significant achievement, a significant accomplishment, which had never been done before. We did a lot of no notices, or a lot of dual wing generations, but never a no notice dual wing generation. 7 red flag, green flag, red flag Alaskas, all that you supported and participated in. The no notice CCRI, if you remember that one, right? That is traditionally a very, very tough thing to pass. And if I remember right, I think our grade was the best record seen to date. Under your command, you executed the first bivouac expeditionary field training in over 11 years. You had the busiest UDM office in Air Force Global Strike Command, deploying over 350 MSG warriors to over 14 different locations around the globe. And then he's also prepared another 178 ready to go out in the short future here. Let's talk about, that's just mission. Let's talk about people. Let's talk about innovation in our quality of life. The quality of life over here at Minot has significantly improved over the last couple of years. And it's in large part to the efforts of the MSG. He fielded the first armory inventory system for Air Force Global Strike Command, reducing the arm time for our defenders by over 50%, giving them back over 23 hours a month in time back to our airmen. The NAF generated over $5.9 million, which generated the best Air Force Global Strike Command acid test. He rebranded Bomber Bistro under your command, bringing a great new atmosphere to one of our primary eating locations. And then let's not forget, he brought us the Rockin' Chicken Sandwich, right?
I just had one for lunch.
which is a very small thing, but a huge thing for our folks here at Minot. For those that don't know, Colonel Black, let me tell you, the number one question that I got for my first 18 months in command here at Minot Air Force Base was, when are we going to get a Chick-fil-A in Minot? That was the number one question that was asked to me in any commander's call. So we actually worked on it really hard and tried to bring him here, couldn't convince the corporation to come. And so Colonel Goodman took it upon himself to recreate a sandwich that tastes the same. And I tasted a lot of them, as did he. And we went through 20 different versions, and we have got it just right. And it's the Rockin' Chicken Sandwich. And you'd be surprised about how small things and make dramatic improvements to the quality of life. Freedom Fest was another great, fantastic event that should become a Minot Air Force Base tradition. We were unable to execute that this year because of COVID, but what a grand celebration we had last summer with the 4th of July during that time frame. Child care is always an issue at every single Air Force base. And here, under Colonel Goodman's command, we expanded and became the largest FCC provider in the entire Air Force, having over 20 FCC providers. And then we just got awarded an expansion to our CDC to create 2 new classrooms and over 40 more children to expand into the CDC. Air Force Pitch Day is another one. Great innovation and innovative effort that we just took on. And then $17 million enterprise land mobile radio upgrades, first infrastructure replacement in 9 years. And then finally, but not least, is the turf, where I went to Colonel Goodman and said, I think we should have an indoor turf. And in a matter of 6 months, 5 months actually, he turned it into a wonderful place for our families and our airmen to have in the middle of winter. So fantastic improvements. And those are just mission and people part of it. But then you throw in, maybe his last couple of months, COVID, and the amount of effort and work that went into generating and producing air power during COVID rested a lot on the Med Group, but also on the MSG in supporting our families, whether that's through resiliency or activities. And a lot of that came down to Colonel Goodman and this team trying to figure out and pave a way to fight through COVID and still have a quality of life for our airmen and families. In the middle of COVID-19, his team redeployed 2 squadrons back to home station. 12,000, protected 12,000 population here at Minot. We got about 12,500. Prepared for the new normal that we have right now, and helped us remain in lockstep with North Dakota and the smart restart from the governor and his plan. And throughout all, child care was still an issue. And so Colonel Goodman and the team had to find a way to continue providing child care in the midst of COVID-19. And his team did exceptionally well at making sure that we could still have child care so that our airmen could still go to work and do their job and do their mission. These are just a few of the MSG accomplishments. I could go on for probably another 2 hours about all the accomplishments. But I think Colonel Goodman would say that even though he was in charge and in command and led his team, I think he'd be one of the first to say that it was a team effort and it wasn't all about him. It was an entire team effort. In addition to supporting Minot in those categories, Colonel Goodman and the Mission Support Group also supported the 91st Missile Wing and their airmen and families and their mission to provide support, 24-hour support to their 24-hour nuclear mission. To say that this group's efforts are key elements in our nation's combat air power is an understatement. The Mission Support Group is the key element in our force that sustains both of Team Minot's missions at home and abroad. So it is clear that this team has excelled under Colonel Goodman's leadership. Colonel Goodman, from all the men and women of Team Minot, thank you for your incredible service. We will miss you. We wish you Godspeed and all the best in retirement. We just ask that you don't get eaten by a bear in Alaska.
Can't promise it.
And with that, we turn to the future and new leadership. Let me tell you, the future is bright for the 5th MSG with Col Brett Black. He is the absolute right choice to lead the 5th Mission Support Group into the next chapter. Colonel Black brings with him tremendous experience from his assignments across the Air Force. Most recently, from being the Chief of Joint Manpower Organization and Resources Branch, Manpower and Personnel Directorate Headquarters, U.S. Indo-Pacific Command in Camp Smith, Hawaii. There, he was responsible for providing management for over 4,000 joint manpower billets, valued in excess of $478 million, encompassing 17 different organizations within 36 countries. Pretty impressive. And now, you'll get to do that here in Minot with a population of 12,500, 1,600 homes, 3 schools, 2 missions, 2 wings, and just an absolute incredible base, and you have been very well prepared for this. He has served in ACC, AMC, USAFE, and both on the Headquarters Air Force and Secretary of the Air Force staffs. He commanded the 11th Force Support Squadron at Andrews Air Force Base, Maryland, which, as you know, is a very, very prestigious and very demanding high-vis command assignment. And he's also spent time deployed, something that our warrior airmen here in the MSG do very much here at Minot. He spent a year deployed to Afghanistan as part of Operation Resolute Support. So, Brett, you will now become part of a long, proud legacy of being our nation's shield and defending freedom by commanding 6 squadrons, 1,700-plus personnel, and training, equipping them, and readying these airmen for operations throughout the world. As you assume this great responsibility as commander of the Mission Support Group, I challenge you to focus on the mission, to take care of all of Team Minot's airmen, and improve the quality of life for us and our families. I know you and Kim will succeed as you do this. So it is with great anticipation that we welcome you to the 5th Bomb Wing family, and we look forward to your success and even greater accomplishments in the future for the 5th Mission Support Group. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Thank you for participating in this ceremony, whether live or virtual. I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Cochran. At this time, Colonel Goodman II will receive the Legion of Merit. Due to current social distancing procedures, his medal is on display on the back table. Please stand for the presentation of the award. Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Legion of Merit to Richard E. Goodman II. Colonel Richard E. Goodman II distinguished himself by exceptionally meritorious conduct in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander, 5th Mission Support Group, 5th Bomb Wing, Minot Air Force Base, North Dakota, from 18 June 2018 to 13 July 2020. During this period, Colonel Goodman led Air Force Global Strike Command's largest mission support group, contributing to the warfighting and precision strike capabilities of the 5th Bomb Wing and the 91st Missile Wing. Colonel Goodman infused a culture of warrior airmen in 6 squadrons and over 1,900 personnel, with a strong focus on mission execution and building multifunctional combat-trained airmen. Additionally, he led the group during 3 higher headquarters inspections, including the 2019 Nuclear Surety Inspection, where his group garnered 9 Superior Performers and 5 Superior Team Awards, benchmarking the best nuclear surety inspection in the Air Force Global Strike Command history. Furthermore, Colonel Goodman oversaw a no-notice command cyber readiness inspection, attaining an excellent rating and simultaneously capturing the best score in the Department of Defense in fiscal year 2018. Notably, his exceptional leadership was crucial during an industrial hangar fire, where he managed multiple units through a timely response, ensuring the safety of emergency responders as they extinguished the fire for over 24 hours with no personnel injuries or damage to adjacent structures. Moreover, Colonel Goodman drove all mission support operations during the coronavirus pandemic while ensuring a secure weapons storage area, an uninterrupted resupply chain, and healthy airmen for mission success. Finally, Colonel Goodman motivated his group to new heights, garnering more than 30 higher headquarters awards, including the Department of Defense's Cyber Facility of the Year and the Best Large Civil Engineering and Force Support Squadrons in the Air Force Global Strike Command. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Colonel Goodman culminate a distinguished career in the service of his country, and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Richard E. Goodman II.
Okay, protocol succeeded in putting the stuffed rat in my face again, so this is kind of awkward for me as I've got this thing in my face, so bear with me. I want to take a moment to recognize our DVs in attendance today. I don't know whether all of them made it, so I don't do anything weird. I'll actually call them out. Admiral Retired Winnefeld, Lieutenant General Bussier, Lieutenant General Morris, Mr. Elliott, and Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, K. Wright. We've come a long way from combat skills training and eating gelato in Afghanistan. Colonel Cochran, Keva, Colonel Vaughn, Chief Mack, Scotty Mack, Colonel Harris and Donna, Colonel Little, Chief Langston, Serena and the girls. Thank you very much. Words on paper, Matt. Wardo, Matt, JT, Swim, Rhino. Okay. Warrior Chief, Chief Greek, my beautiful wife, Mary Beth, and the kids, Rich and SJ from Alaska. My mom and dad watching from Pennsylvania, unfortunately from my dad's recovery room. He had a little bit of a cardiac issue this morning, so Dad, I love you. You're going to do fine. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to show up today. I'd like to extend a special welcome to the family and friends of Colonel Black. Thank you guys. And finally, a warm welcome to the MSG Warriors. Where are we? Oh. All right. And all of Team Minot. We're honored you've joined us today. So when I took command, I started with some advice from an Army mentor of mine. So leaving command, I'm heeding his same advice. He said, Rich, they'll only remember your change of command speech if it sucks. So don't suck. I said, roger that, General. So I'll start off with the hard stuff first. For the record, today is No Feelings Monday, so I will show no emotion. To my family, thank you for standing beside me during my 2-year command tour. You endured phone calls at all hours of the day and night, long hours at work, constantly being put on show where you had to perform, angry daddy, cat stand-ups, COVID, homeschool, and so much more. My son would say, that's my daddy, the famous MSG commander. Today I get to change my duty title to just daddy. So after 27 years and 30-plus duty titles, that's the best duty title I've ever had. You are the rock-solid family that kept me balanced and grinding through these days, months, and years. All right, so the MSG staff, Chief Greek, Chief Sipos, Lieutenant Colonel Coronet, Lieutenant Colonel Mays, Lieutenant Martinez, I think you're out there, Lieutenant Barrow, Miss Mary, Miss Kathy, thank you for your unwavering support, your candid advice, sage counsel, enduring friendship. You can always call on me anytime, anywhere. Never forget, every day's a Monday in MSG. To every part of the 5th Mission Support Group, thank you for allowing the Chief and I to be part of your squadrons. We spent the last week or so out and about across the installation saying goodbye. The best times we had were working side by side with each and every one of you. Whether it was plowing and blowing snow with Airman Cecil, doing new phone rollout and install with Tech Sergeant Parmalee and his comm team, celebrating Happy Fiscal New Year with Major Meyer and Angie Klein. Now I'll tell you, and our contracting ninjas, I'll tell you, if the place to go for food on New Year is definitely contracting. It's pretty legit. Getting shot at paintball with Matt, Brittany, and the youth center staff. Preparing and cooking meals for our airmen in the DFAC with our FSS Dragons. Clearing spalls and building roads with Tech Sergeant Powell and our Dirt Boys. working with Ken Blotter and the Warble electricians on Easter Sunday when we lost power to Building 870. Freddie, thanks for reminding me about that when I was out there. Standing post at Gulf 1 in minus 34 degrees with our defenders. Fighting fires for 24 hours straight with our fire dogs. Tearing down the stage after Freedom Fest with Andrea, Joe Smiley, and the FSS team after they had worked that event all day the previous day. Seeing the pride and professionalism at guard mount at 0430 with our defenders as they armed up and took post for another 12-hour shift of defending our most powerful weapons. Going to Football Frenzy with my family every Sunday to get a Bender basket with fries and extra blue cheese. And of course, to see Miss Renee. Changing oil, doing preventative maintenance, and just talking diesel trucks with Sergeant Holden and our VM team. Pushing cargo onto the 747 at midnight in minus 20 degrees with Master Sergeant Lopez and our port dogs. Directing traffic with the defenders at the Northern Neighbors Day Air Show, where the best fits quote occurred. Sir, isn't there a funnel cake or something you need to be getting after right now? Now remember, that was 6 weeks into my command, so that was in our more of a storming part of our relationship. Helping Marv and our auto skills team put on a car show in the Rockers parking lot on the hottest day of the year at 104 degrees. Watching Miss Julie Wright at the last best library in the Air Force put out program after program for our families. Walking the dorms with Master Sergeant Knight and our ADL team. Talking to our airmen with Chaplain Compray, Chaplain J.R. Harris, Chaplain Watton, Chaplain White, Chaplain Lynchleiter. And the ultimate send-off of Warrior One, the 12-mile ruck march last Friday morning, organized by Senior Airman Rosenberg and our EOD warriors. Cool? All right. The chief and I like to find the out-of-the-limelight parts of MSG to go and visit, like the lone airman chef working at the flight kitchen at 0100, the CDC provider in the toddler room who has the toughest job on the installation. You think you got a tough job, come to the CDC, right? Especially if Henry's in the room. Yeah, that dude's got a lot of energy, all right? The Airman missile chef that's tripped out for her third 14-day rotation to the missile field to sustain nuclear operations. The night shift desk clerk at lodging. The swing shift at POL pushing gas so we can fuel the fight. Warriors never forget. Leadership doesn't happen behind a desk. It happens in front of it. It doesn't happen in meetings. It happens with direct engagement and interaction with our airmen. Authentic leadership happens every day in MSG, within every formation, in every squadron, at the most fundamental level. I am humbled each and every time I see you work. You work quietly without fanfare, without the thought of a reward or an OPR, EPR bullet or a medal. You work because you know the job has to get done. You work because without you, the mission would fail. Because your wingmen are counting on you, and because our families need the services we provide. Thank you for your humble service to our airmen, our families, and our nation. When I took command, we embarked on a vision of warrior airmen. I told you I didn't care what your AFSC was. I probably said that a little more colorfully, but we'll save that. I told you that you were airmen first and a technician second. Our goal was to build an elite team of multifunctional, highly trained, and unquestionably supported warrior airmen. MSG, you have embraced our warrior culture and met my expectations. We still have many ways and areas to improve, but with a sustained warrior spirit, we will continue to be the best. As I've told you many times, being a warrior is not about yelling and screaming, intense PT sessions, or long work hours. Being a warrior is about that internal drive, that demand for excellence, the determination to overcome obstacles, and that promise to never, never quit. In each and every one of you is a warrior. I know it. I've seen it. I've seen it in you. Don't ever forget that. Most change of command speeches include at least one dead guy quote. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to share an alive guy quote. So if you know me, you guessed it. Who is it? Jocko. Cool. For the MSG Warriors, don't expect to be motivated every day to get out there and make things happen. You won't be. Don't count on motivation, count on discipline. Because self-discipline equals freedom. There is no shortcut, there is no hack, there's only one way. So get up, get after it, and move out. Colonel Black, it's difficult for me to hand the flag virtually of the 5th Mission Support Group to anyone else. This team, this family is like no other in the world. Lead them boldly, aggressively, and to continued success. Best of luck. Thank you for attending. May God bless our MSG Warriors. May God bless Team Minot. May God bless the United States of America. Cool.
At this time, Airman Xavier Rubio, the youngest member of the 5th Mission Support Group, would like to bid farewell to Colonel Goodman II by rendering him one last salute. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the official change of command. Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force, Headquarters, 5th Bomb Wing, Minot Air Force Base, North Dakota. Special Order Gulf 20005, dated 18 May 2020. By order of the Commander, Col Richard E. Goodman II will relinquish command to Col Brett T. Black, 5th Mission Support Group, Minot Air Force Base, North Dakota, effective 13 July 2020. Signed, Colonel Bradley L. Cochran.
Sir, I relinquish command. Sir, I assume command.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Colonel Cochran, Colonel Harris, Colonel Vaughn, Colonel Little, Chiefs McElroy, Langston, fellow commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, and especially the men and women of the 5th Mission Support Group, thank you for attending today's ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is truly an honor to be with you today. I want to start by thanking Lieutenant Balsarac, Senior Master Sergeant Tilstra, and Lieutenant White for planning, coordinating, and participating in this event today. It has been excellent, and as my family feels very honored by your efforts, so thank you. I'll tell you, my wife Kim and I cannot be more thrilled to be with you here in Minot, North Dakota. This is our 3rd bomber base, and my wife is a retired B-1 Lancer pilot, and it's like a homecoming to be back to an Air Force base with a familiar mission. The last 5 years, as Colonel Cochran mentioned, I've been to 2 joint assignments, Kabul, Afghanistan, and Joint Visitors Bureau, and also Indo-Pacific Command's Manpower and Personnel Directorate. I can tell you it's so nice to be back home in the blue, alongside familiar faces, family, friends, and great Stryker airmen. I'd like to thank the senior leaders that nominated me and Colonel Cochran for selecting me to lead the mighty 5th Mission Support Group. I look forward to working closely with my fellow commanders, mission partners, and local community leaders as we address the challenges that face our great nation. I could not be more motivated to answer the call. I can't go much further without thanking my family. All of us that serve can only do so with the support of our loved ones, and I feel that I have some of the most supportive, and I'm very proud of them. As I mentioned, my wife Kim also served and now fills her days raising our children, composing music, assisting foster children through her own nonprofit. My wife and I have 4 wonderful children. My 3 daughters continue to do well in school after being assigned in 4 different school districts in the past 3 years. And my son Browan is generally happy as long as he has some trains and trucks to play with. They've been very resilient through our moves And after being assigned to Hawaii, they were very anxious to see snow again. So I promised that they will for a while at temperatures much lower than Hawaii. So, as I've heard, Minot has been and always will be a special place. I want to tell you about Minot as an outsider looking in, and I'll give you the fast version as Colonel Cochran covered it quite extensively and well. In the past 6 months, I've heard and read about a wing that's hosted the Chief Staff of the Air Force 2 times. Fought a hangar fire over the holidays, received numerous accolades from inspections and exercises, recovered a 9-month continuous bomber presence from supporting Indo-Pacific Command, of which those in the first island chain are very much appreciative of. And also on top of that, not to mention mitigating COVID-19 impacts to the mission. These and many other accomplishments are impressive, not only from a mission generation and readiness perspective, but I'll tell you what stuck with me the most. As I informed others about my assignment to Minot and my curiosity about how cold it actually gets here, I was surprised to hear the number of airmen that were previously assigned here. As I spoke to them, to a person, they had so much pride having served here, satisfaction in the mission, and a sense of a tight-knit community. Some had me convinced I could not have wanted to go anywhere else. For our local community leaders, when I talked to these people, they just didn't talk about the mission. They immediately talked about what was outside the gate, the great community and partnership. So whether it was your intention or not, you have created many ambassadors around the world telling the greater Minot region story. I'm very honored now to finally be a part of that story and looking forward to working with you. Minot has had some amazing leaders in Colonel Cochran and Colonel Goodman, and it is incredibly humbling to follow in their footsteps. I want to thank you for placing Minot on the precise trajectory it needs to be on to accomplish the mission and for guiding my development as an officer to accept this responsibility. It's not one I will take lightly. As I am reminded, we are part of a strategic global combat command. As Admiral Richard of U.S. Strategic Combat Command reminds us that above all else, it will provide strategic deterrence. If that fails, be prepared to deliver decisive response, and also to provide a resilient, equipped, trained, and combat-ready force. We must never lose sight of the fundamental nature of our nation's strategic forces and their impacts across the globe. It is the most effective way to deter our adversaries and is the foundation of our survival as a nation. 24/7, 365, we have to be able to execute our mission involving weapon systems. You don't have to pull the trigger in order for them to work. Their mere potential of systems influences our competitors, and that's what we're about. To Team Minot, whether you're part of the medical group, you fly, you maintain, you support, or anything in between, know that your reputation around the world is rock solid, and you've built a legacy of excellence. To the men and women of the 5th Mission Support Group, thank you for being a part of the ceremony. I salute you for your outstanding performance the past 2 years under Col Rich Goodman and your dedication to our country and the mission. I look forward to becoming a member of your team and serving with you as we continue the tradition of excellence you have established. Thank you.
At this time, Airman Xavier Rubio of the 5th Mission Support Group would like to welcome Colonel Black by rendering him a first salute. Thank you, Colonel Black. Next, the men and women of the 5th Mission Support Group would like to present a token of appreciation to Miss Mary Beth Goodman and Miss Kim Black. However, due to current COVID conditions, the gifts have been placed at the back of the table. In keeping with Air Force tradition, we will conclude today's ceremony with the playing of the Air Force song. While it is customary for Air Force members to stand, we invite all of our guests to join us in standing for the Air Force song and the departure of the official party and special guests. Off we go into the wild blue yonder, flying high into the sun. Here they they come, zooming to meet our thunder. Head 'em, boys, give her the gun, give her the gun. Hey. Now we die, spotting our flames from under. Off with one hell of a roar. We live in fame or go down in flames. Hey, nothing will stop the U.S. Air Force. Hey. Thank you. Sir. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Thank you for attending, both in person and virtually. Bearing COVID regulations in mind, please welcome Colonel Black and his family to Team Minot.